KM Radio, we go ham. It's your boy Tony G, Big Lou, the sports book, every Tuesday night, KM Radio. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on kmradio.com. All right, lots to talk about. A lot of money made, a lot of money lost. A couple key games, but we got to talk. I guess we got to talk about the elephant in the room. We got to talk about the draft before we get to the controversy. Everybody seemed to, one thing I think people forget about with the draft is if you have, this is going to be, I'm exaggerating, but if you got Drew Brees or you got any of the other great Patrick Mahomes, you're not going to waste a first round draft on another first round draft choice quarterback. You know what I mean?
Right.
You go, hey, what do we need? What do we need to go better? What do we need? We need a defensive end. We need this. We need that. So a lot of people talking about Sanders, this and that. It wasn't fair. Look, the draft isn't fair. Okay, those people are looking at it as a product, and how does that product better us? Now, you may not like the answer, and that's cool. I understand that. Was I surprised when he didn't go in the bottom of the first round? Yeah, it was a little bit, but then I started looking at you start looking at what people were doing, what they were trying to do. They were trying to make their situation better. And then going in the second round, people were looking at other stuff. And do I think it was I'm gonna let Lou go on about it too. And I will say this: the bottom line is this: I think we're gonna see more of this. And people go, "What do you mean? How are we gonna see more?" You got college players coming from college making $5 and $10 million a year. Okay. Mm-hmm. Making more than a proven starting quarterback or a proven running back. Not everybody makes $30 million a year. There's plenty of guys that we can there's hundreds of guys that we go, man, that guy's really good. What does he make? He made $8 million last year. He made $12 million. A lot of money, but it's not the Saquon Barkley money. Not everybody gets that. And there's a lot of good running backs besides Saquon Barkley, okay? I'm not taking anything away. So by saying that, you get somebody coming in making $5-10 million. And Lou, I'm gonna let him go on with it. I'm gonna say a few more things. And you're not bigger than the word Lou, you're not bigger than the shield. You're not coming into the NFL. You made $10 million last year. It's a lot of money to me and Lou. It's a real unbelievable amount of money. But in the NFL terms, you still don't call shots. You know what I mean? Dak doesn't necessarily call shots. Manning, when he was there, he had an input. He wasn't firing people. So if those guys on that level, Patrick Mahomes, they listen to Patrick Mahomes, but Pat's not going, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I need you to sit, and that's not how this works. There has to be a pecking order. And nowadays, people don't like the pecking order. I get it, but I think you're going to see a lot more a lot of these young men making a lot of money coming in and want to tell you the only way. Here's the bottom line, and I'm gonna let Lou say it. It doesn't matter when you got drafted. If you are really that person, it may affect your money. It is going to affect your money. There's no doubt. But you've already been making $5 or $10 million. If you are really about that smoke, if he's all that and a bag of chips, believe me, we will see it in the next 24 months. There'll be no doubt and he will get his money. So that being said, I'm gonna put the floor over to Lou. Talk about it, Lou.
Okay. I'll start off with this because this is where everybody's been going with this whole situation. The Eli Manning situation, where Eli Manning was drafted by the San Diego Chargers. And his father came out and said that my son is not playing for San Diego, and he ended up in New York. I understand that. But even in that sense, it wasn't fair. It wasn't fair that, and his son got to go where he got to go. I give y'all that. That wasn't fair. But what we also have to understand too is that you can't be bigger than the house you're in. And I know there's going to be backlash from this, but I'm just I'm just keeping a sense of reality to things because I know a lot of times we have opinions and things of personal experience to where we interject them into everything. No one's bigger than a shield, meaning there are people that's got a whole lot of money and there's people that's got a lot of money. The people with the whole lot of money, the NFL is their product, their rules. And they felt like you were considering yourself bigger than the shield by coming in telling us, and all he said there's some teams that he doesn't want his son to play for. And that's okay. It's okay to say that. But that's their company. That's their brand. That's their product. So just like when you get up and go to work, there are certain set of rules that you have to follow for 8 hours. It may not be fair. You may do more work than the next guy, and he might get more money on his raise than you do. Is that fair? No. But you still go to work. You have the opportunity to not go to that job and start your own business. You have that opportunity. You don't have to follow the rules of said company. You can go start your own company, but you don't. What do? You get up, you get dressed, and you punch that time card. So that's just consequences of decisions that was made before the draft. And now that it's done and it's over with, he's on the team. Now he can prove everybody wrong by his play. And he's in Cleveland. So who's going to fight him for the job? Joe Flacco. He's got the experience, but at least you do it consider and let the game, I'm pretty sure he has knowledge of it, but it's nothing like playing it. But yeah, but to tie everything back together, basically all I'm saying is the NFL is an entity that we choose to be a part of because we're talented and very good at the sport that that they put on, and to keep get our families out of generational wealth hardship. Those are the two reasons why we do what we do, to better our family, better our living situations. So when you do that, there's certain rules and there's certain things that you have to abide by. Does it seem fair? Probably not to us because we're on the low end of that scale. But if we want to be an NFL player or an NFL employee, then we're going to have to honor that. That's all I'm saying. It's not about, you know, this person being done wrong or that person being done wrong. It's about a company that you want to be a part of so that you can get rich, but there's rules that you have to go by to be a part of said company. And you can't go in there demanding things. I made this allegory to Tony G before the show started, and then we're gonna go on with the show after this. I was like, okay, you have a house and you have your recliner that you go sit in every time you get off work because that's yours. You eat your food there. Your wife or significant other bring you your food to that chair. That is your chair. You're not going to be upset. Somebody come in your house. You have an event. People come over. And he's like, you know what? I don't sit on cloth. I sit on linen. So I'm going to go sit in that chair. Well, hold up. That's my chair. How you going to come in my house telling me where you go sit at? Does it make sense now?
That's
All right,
I'll tell
Tony.
you, and I'll tell you this now. So Cleveland's got, and what else is crazy. So in one aspect, he actually went to a team that he actually has a chance of starting later this season. Because he could have
Right.
went to some other teams and he would have been the backup. And that, I mean, it goes back to the Cam Newton thing we talked about a week ago. Cam's persona, he probably could have played another 6 years as a backup. That's just not his personality, and which is
That's not
fine.
Cam. Yeah,
And
that's not Cam.
yeah, and here's the deal: he
Yeah.
can afford. It costs to be the boss, and he could
Mhm.
afford to be the boss. And there's nothing wrong with it. But listen, they got Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, Deshaun Watson, Dylan Daniels, and they got Sanders. So they got five quarterbacks. Deshaun probably not going to hear from him the rest of the season. Probably going to start off with Flacco because they did have some success. But then you have Pickett coming from Philly, Sanders, and you got Dillon. So those three right there, you don't know what. I mean, he's actually in a good spot
Mm-hmm.
to actually have a chance of starting some games later in the. I mean, unless Flacco goes on which he's had. I've seen him go on 5 or 6 game, shut him down. And here's another thing: Cleveland has a really good defense, so they can play, kind of tight to the cuff and win some games and be in it. Um, so in a weird aspect, he did go. He went to a place where he might be able to get an opportunity to show a shot. The
Mm-hmm.
flip side is Cleveland has been through a lot of quarterbacks, a lot of true number one pick quarterbacks. So it just
Mm-hmm.
shows you. But hey, Dak wasn't a high pick. Brady wasn't a high pick. Um, San Fran, Mr. Irrelevant. I
Yeah,
mean, it
Brock
just
wasn't a hot pick.
But so at any time, if you got it in you, if it's
Yeah,
there, then it'll come out. All the rest is,
yeah.
I think, and like I said, I just think going forward, there's going to be other players making a lot of money
Mm-hmm.
and come in. And I'm going to tell you something. This isn't new. Back in
Yeah.
the day when Bo and the guy from Seattle, Bosworth, he was bigger than the
Bos
show. And
Brian Bosworth was bigger than
Bosworth
the
bigger than,
show.
and then
Uh
all of a sudden he wasn't. And then we've had
right.
players, Warren Moon, Tom Castano. You probably not. It's a guy that actually got drafted first round by the Buffalo Bills. He didn't want to play there. He went to Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah,
he never came. You know what I'm saying? So they own the
right.
rights to you in the NFL, but you can go. I mean, he could have went to the CFL. Warren Moon won
Mm-hmm.
5 Grey Cups, 4 MVPs, came back to the league. I don't even know 7, 8 years later, and made
Mm-hmm.
a run
And
with
still
Houston.
dominated.
Oh
Right.
man, he was the man. Um,
Right.
so all this heapity hoppity, I mean, just stop. You know, what I mean, that's all that I'm saying.
Yeah.
Just let it be about the
Yeah.
football.
Let his game speak for itself. And there's a video out there where he was talking about, look, he said, look, it doesn't matter where I go, it's humbling. Even when you get drafted first, you're still going to a bad situation because the worst team gets the first pick. So you
That's
still go into a
exactly
bad situation. So let's not get caught up too much in where he got drafted and this, that, and the third. And let's just look at his play. Now, yeah, I agree. I agree. First of all, everybody that has a problem with how it went down, I am in agreement with you. I was just trying to give y'all a different perspective in how sometimes what's moral doesn't work. In that, in some worlds, what's moral and the right thing to do doesn't work. It's about the people that put the money behind their product staying in control of their product. Now, can a quarterback change the NFL by him saying by him having confidence? No. But I do agree with what people are saying because we had a Baker, we had a Johnny Manziel, we've
Manziel.
had a Ryan Leaf. We've had some
Oh
some
God,
guys
yeah,
that
Ryan
come
Leaf.
in.
Yeah, yeah.
we had some guys that come in, with that chip, with that attitude, you know. But so I agree with y'all on that. But even they were not bigger than the Shield.
Right. This is very, very true, and that's at the end of the day. Like I said, I don't really get into the draft that much. But this year was, and the reason why I don't,
Yeah.
because at the end of the day, it's a media show.
Mm-hmm.
It's sign some papers. If you get picked in the first round, you're gonna make some substantial money.
X amount of
Um,
dollars, right?
yeah, there's no doubt. But then becomes this other part where you have to put the pads on and play, prove you can play in this NFL. And
Because
we've
that's what it
seen
boils
many.
down to.
Yeah, that's it. We've seen so many people not make it. First round draft choice, first pick draft. I mean, just it's all you gotta do is look. Google. I mean, we got a computer. You
Marcus
can
Russell.
Google. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's just market.
Marcus
Oh,
Russell.
geez. Yeah. So there's been all kind of people that are, yeah, and they're just not bigger than the Shield, and they weren't. They
Right.
never lived up to the um to the hype, and there's other people that have. So, like I said, he'll get his chance. How did the Saints do? Did they get what they needed in the draft?
Uh, they address some I need everything. They address some issues that they had. I thought they were going to draft Shador. I really thought that they were going to I really thought they was going to draft Shador. Maybe they got the phone call. I'm not sure. But but there it has to be a rebuild, Tony. They don't want to say it. They don't want to say rebuild, but they got to rebuild. They've got to rebuild because they didn't plan. I guess they thought Drew Brees and Sean Payton was going to be there forever. There was no plan put in place on what do we do after they leave.
Right.
so so here we are, So we will see what's going on with that. I do think they like Spencer Rattler though, but I still think they need a veteran QB there for him to sit and learn the game behind.
Right. 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 That's. I mean,
Because
it depends where it's kind of like when Washington had RG3. They got
mhm,
RG3, and the other quarterback they drafted was Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins.
Sometimes it just works out. Now
Hmm.
RG3 was the meat and potatoes. Kirk Cousins was an after, like, hey, we'll get him too. He's the best player that we need at this. Like they had a lot of draft choices, and RG3 was it, and then he got hurt, and then the rest is history. Kirk Cousins has played way longer than
Yeah.
RG3. Has
Hmm.
made way more money than RG3. I'm not saying he's as good as he is. He's durable, serviceable, flashes of some greatness here and there. Um, not gonna screw anything up. And just by doing that, I mean, you can have a chance at a Super Bowl. I mean, you could
Right.
if that defense is good enough. Um, you can, because you look at the years that the Giants won. Yeah, they
Hmm.
did. They had bobblehead. There's no doubt he was a good quarterback. He wasn't great
Hmm.
though. You know what I mean? That's the defense was their defense was number one, um, and they had New England's number. Don't know
Yes.
what number they had, but whatever
But
number
they
New
had
England
it. Yeah.
had, they had their number.
They
For
had it.
some reason, New
Hmm.
England did not. There was one team that it's like, God, and that was Super Bowls are big. Those are big numbers to get. I mean, it's one thing to beat them during the season. They're going to lose a
Hmm.
game or two, but man, when you
Yeah.
beat them in the playoffs, and you show like, hey, this is why we are better than you. I mean, that's really saying a lot. But at the end of the day, there's just a lot of different situations, especially on the draft. The Bills picked up some picked up a big boy lineman. They made some uh, other pickups. So hopefully we'll see. Like I said, we don't know
Hmm.
anything until the season starts. You know what I mean?
Right.
And all
Right.
the how many sets you did and how fast you were. And then all of a sudden it doesn't really matter because it doesn't transform into the to the
Right.
to
It
the
doesn't
play.
transform to the field. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weight
So
room
every
doesn't go to the field. So it's like, okay, you did, you bench press 350 pounds, but this lineman just pancaked you. I mean, this offensive lineman just pancaked you. What's going on with that? Where'd you? So
right, right, right.
yeah, it's got to transfer over to the field, and that's what matters. And I think Shador is going to be fine. I think it's going to do great in Cleveland. He's in a tough division because you got to see Burrow, Lamar,
Yeah. No,
and
no, no.
you got to see Burrow, Lamar, and Pittsburgh. They should be okay with Pittsburgh, but they're a 500 team too. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to
And
see.
and they got, and Pittsburgh's got a quarterback. They're trying to figure out who. Um, I mean, I don't know. There's a lot going on with quarterbacks.
Hmm.
Um, and then
But
everybody's trying not to make the mistake.
yeah, I've seen on my ticker here. I've seen that the Browns are passing on Pickett's 5th year option.
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah,
Kenny
yeah.
Pickett had a fifth year, so they're going to pass on that. So I don't think I don't think he's going to be. They don't plan on him being a part of that roster for that long.
No,
Shador should
and
be able
that's
to get. He should be able
and
to
that
get the spot for
you
Kenny.
slide, and
Should
that's
be.
the other thing is what um you take Cincinnati, you take their
Mm-hmm.
situation. They're in a bad situation, overpaying a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They paid both of their receivers.
yeah, and then they paid, and then
Then they
then you
paid their
got
defensive they pass rusher. Am I right?
yep. Oh yeah, they paid him. But you know what I'm saying? They paid Wilson over. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some examples of like people paying. If you pay 100, and this is so crazy, we're throwing 100 millions out. If you pay someone 100 millions and you get them 3 years, 4 years, it hurts. But
Mhm.
you're out. You're done with them. It's over. But these guys are getting 7, 8 year, $200 million contract. That's a long way to try to unload that dead weight. You know what I mean? And that's
Right.
where
Unless they
Wilson
giving
and
it to him
Denver.
on the back end.
Yeah, unless they
That's
give
all.
it to him on the back end, it's still going to break it down, but still, it's a cost. It's a bad cost because you got nothing for. I feel like Denver got nothing for their money. I feel like Cleveland got nothing for their money. At least with um people give him a hard time. We just mentioned him. Uh, the one that's traveled around. He was at Philadelphia.
Oh, you talking about Kenny
Uh,
Pickett?
Not Pickett. The one that got drafted with RG3.
Kirk
Cousins.
Cousins. Mm-hmm.
He got a lot of money because they kept franchising him. But I feel like at least
Mm-hmm.
they got some of their money's worth. It isn't like
Yeah.
Cleveland where I feel like they just got robbed, and I feel like Wilson robbed them over there. He got paid too much, and
Oh
the same
yes. Oh yeah, he robbed.
same yeah, same thing with Rodgers in New York. I mean, what they get for it? They got 6 wins in 2 years, or well, he got hurt. Yeah, he got hurt. Maybe because he was a 40-year-old quarterback. I don't know.
That
I
didn't
just know.
show up to
They
practice
did.
to get his body right.
So I mean,
But
we can go
hey,
on. Yeah, we can go on and on about it, and that's the whole thing. Is so I think a lot of. I mean, it's a business. Teams are trying to avoid bad decisions when it comes because the quarterback pay for your top guys is it's 50, $60 million a year. That's a lot of money. You know what I mean? That's a lot of that's a
wait,
lot of
it's
money.
up there. Yeah.
You know, that's naming a lot of them. And they're all
Mm-hmm.
and there's a couple of them getting long in the tooth, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Both setups in Detroit and in L.A. I mean, them guys have been in the league for a while. They're coming. Um, injury, hopefully no injuries for them. But there's a lot of
But
what's going to happen with Josh Purdy exactly. Nobody really knows.
yeah,
Um,
nobody knows what's going to happen with Brock.
Carr, I don't know what's going to happen to him. Does he
I
Carr
don't
go
know.
somewhere else?
It's a lot of money. That's a
Yeah, but it's
lot of
every
money.
year.
But
Every year it keeps
every
dissipating.
year, it's
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, that shoulder's a lot worse than what they thought it was.
Yes.
So
Apparently it
he,
was worse than they thought. And what's so crazy is I say this all the time. I mean, NFL sports doctors are some of the, like if you got having problems with your shoulder or something and you want to do some research, they use the best of the best. You know what I mean?
hmm
I mean whatever procedure they did is probably top tier of any that you could possibly get. And I guess they
hmm
just couldn't see how much damage um, was done, but apparently it
right.
was. I mean, apparently there was more. He did take a lot of abuse, um, and the other thing, bringing back Shakur, he's a pocket passer, and he's playing for a pocket passer coach. So like
hmm
I said,
So
believe it
yeah,
or
he
not,
actually landed in a good spot
a good spot. Somebody that will go.
because
Well,
he
that's the kind of quarterback I want is a pocket passer. He's a pocket passer. He's not going to run.
right now. What he does is kind of like what Brady does. He dances around in that area. He moves around in the pocket to get receivers a chance to get open. You know,
Right.
he has that sense of awareness that okay, this lineman getting close. Let me shift a little bit, you know, so that I can give my time for my receiver to make the break or the cut that he needs to make. And Cleveland is gonna have a offensive line that's gonna block
Yeah.
pretty. I don't hear too many bad stories about Cleveland's offensive line.
No, they
It's
got a
more
lot
about
of
the
bright
talent.
parts.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
talent
They
on the
got
outside and defensively. I don't hear too many bad I'll check their stats on how they did, but I don't hear a lot about their offensive line being bad. It's mostly
yeah,
in Cleveland, it's mostly their quarterback play.
quarterback play that has let them down over the years. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, like I said, we'll just have to wait and see. And um, so we're far ways away from we're not that far. August starts football, so we're not that
Mm-hmm.
far. There'll be a lot of deals made and all that. So when we get back, we got a whole bunch of basketball to talk about. Um,
Oh, yes, we do.
yeah, about from last Friday to current. I mean, because there's been some great games.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely been some dominance. Um, you can see, you can see who's lacking. And we're gonna talk about all that. And before we go on break, I want to guys got we're always pushing it. You got an event, if you got a business, if you're looking for a service from another business, call KM Radio. Hit us up on Facebook. Look up. They work in the community. They have all kind of different businesses that advertise, from credit card, bars, roofing, painting, you name it, public service stuff. So if you're looking for something, go, gee, who do I need to call for that? Hit up KM Radio or hit us up on a sports book, and it will get directed to whoever needs you, and they will call you back. Use the services that we have. That's what they're there for. And again, if you go to one of our sponsors and you buy something, or you just wait, if you just went there to look, just say, hey, Tony G and Big Lou, the sports book, I saw it there. I heard it there. I said, man, that gives us so much validity. Just helps us. It just helps us out a lot. So whatever you guys need, hit us up. Facebook page, um, the sports book, KM Radio. Call the station if you're working on something. You need advertisement. You need public service. You need who do I need to get in touch with to utilize the park? He's got it. They got it all. I mean, that's what they do. All right, guys. Again, every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock, the sports book on KM Radio and YouTube. Make sure you look us up.
Mm-hmm.
Tony G, Big Lou, the sports book on KM Radio, where we go ham.
Hell.
Boom. KM Radio, we go ham. It's your boy Tony G, Big Lou, the sports book, every Tuesday night, 8 o'clock. Just do a quick little recap. Friday's games. The Magic beat the Celtics 95-93. Good game.
Good game.
The Bucks beat the Pacers 117-101. The Lakers lost to the Timberwolves, and this is where we're gonna. Okay, this is the start, I think, where you start seeing the difference. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So Saturday, the Cavs beat down the Heat 40 points. 40 points. Um, the Thunder just beat them by two, but they swept their series.
Mm-hmm.
The Grizzlies, John Morant was saying if he was 100%, they could have beat him. Maybe. I don't know about that. I mean, maybe it would have been better. Um,
Yeah.
the Thunder is definitely on a different level. Um,
Oh yeah.
there's just no there's just no doubt about it. And then the Nuggets, the Nuggets show why they're the Nuggets. They squeeze out that 2-point win.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Series is tied 2-2. What's your thoughts on that series?
the experience of the experience of the Nuggets when your center is the focal point of your offense, that makes your offense run better. Uh, and with the like we was talking before the show, uh, Ty Lue is the voice of that team.
Yeah,
Excellent coach, excellent coach. But that's what the problem is, Tony. He's the coach. Sometimes players respond to the older players.
right.
Because you hear the coach every day. You hear it in practice. You hear the coach's voice all day. You can tune that out. They don't have the voice on the floor. Like LeBron, voice on the floor. Draymond, Steph, voice on the floor. Somebody that can be like, hey guys, hey, everybody just huddle up real quick. This is what's going down. We hear what coach said, but this is what we got to do. And um, out of respect for their games, both Harden and Kawhi, they're both excellent basketball players, but they're not that voice. You got to have that voice on the court, like in the heat,
Yeah.
in right there on the court, as opposed to calling time out. Okay, I got to go over here and hear coach. They need somebody on the floor that can be like, hey, this is what's going down. He's setting the pick on you all the time. This, that, and the third. They don't have that on the court. He needs a in the moment person on the floor that can resonate what needs to be said. And that's where the Clippers are gonna I think that's where the Clippers fail against the Nuggets. They have the talent because when they're on all cylinders, they could win a game against the Nuggets. They just take their shooters out of the game.
Yeah.
And Kawhi makes basketball look so easy. He
Oh,
makes it look
absolutely.
like I could go out there and do what he does until
Right.
I go out there and try to do what he does. So he just makes it look easy, but he's not that voice though. And I think
Right.
that's what the Clippers need. Tyronn Lue needs a voice on the court, like a point guard or something like that. Somebody that can facilitate and bring them back in and keep their confidence up. But I do think Denver's going to win this series though because of that.
So the trying to pull back. Yeah, I agree with you. And I'll tell you what, both sides have been doing a lot of player props. Um, and yeah, there's been some people getting off. Um, so Curry got off the other night. He had a heck of a night against the Warriors. I mean, they're up 2-1. It ain't over by any means, but
Mm-mm.
they're definitely handling business. No Jimmy buckets. I mean, they went out there and won it without Jimmy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, let's look at the let's look at the box score. Let's see what we got. Because we had all right, we're gonna go to all right, let me pull it over here. Draymond had 7. That's what you need from him.
Mm-hmm.
Domingo had 7. Post had 2. Steph had 36. Bazima had 10. But here's where it gets good. Off the bench, Bobby Heald, 17.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gary Payton, Gary Payton the second, 16.
Clutch.
That helped.
Clutch.
Yes.
If he could do that, if he could be consistent like that, they could win this series.
I'm telling you, they really could. I mean, with Steph,
If he could play it with Jimmy and Steph on fire, if Buddy Hield and GP3 or GP Junior, if he shows up like that, they could take this. They could take this
yeah.
series.
But they got to have
But
everybody. The bench has
yeah,
got to produce
everybody's
too.
yeah. The bench has got to be on all cylinders too.
That's the name of the
That's the
name of the
thing. Yeah.
game.
Mm-hmm.
So that was Saturday. Now Sunday's games. Here's one that got a little weird. Okay. So the Knicks and the Pistons,
Uh-huh. Excellent game, by the way.
excellent
Good
game.
East
You
Coast
could have got
basketball game.
a great East. Yes. You could have got Pistons +7. Then there was a time when the Pistons came back because he rolled his ankle. And
Mm-hmm.
so then the Pistons were -7. So there was a point in this game when you could have got the Knicks +7 and the Pistons +7. Could have crossed
Wow.
over. It was really something.
Yeah.
But as soon as he came back in the when he came back into the, I mean, it was over from there because it said rolled ankle questionable, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wow, that's let me see, yeah, Jalen Brunson, yeah, and that was he scored 32. Powell Anthony Thomas had 27. Josh Hart had 14. The bench, not so much. The bench really didn't produce a lot for him, which I think this Pistons team is tough.
Mm-hmm.
Tough team. I mean, I do.
Yeah.
I think no, they're not going to win the series. They may win one more. Um, and I think it's taken everything out of the Pistons. I mean, everything out of the Knicks. This is one of those series where it's like, man,
Mm-hmm.
we're so
We
beat up
better
from
than
this
them.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
It's like we
yeah.
should be better than them. Why are we, why are they hanging in tight and why are we losing? And these guys, we're better than these guys. But
But Pistons play tough. They
yeah,
play real tough.
they
They're
they play
physical
tough
down the
basketball.
paint. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they have a good defense. I mean, they're a good team. They're maybe a year or two away from being a great team. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but and then you go to the Lakers and the Timberwolves.
Ugh,
Too little, too late.
ugh. Too little, too late. It's Anthony Edwards' season. The Lakers do not have enough. And Lakers fans, hey, it is what it is. I just call it like I see it. I'm a Lakers fan, true and true, diehard purple and gold. But I'm watching these games, and for however much love and loyalty I have for the Lakers, we don't have the team yet. We gotta get some bigs. So this is Rob and you guys upstairs. This is what happens on the court when we don't have bigs. And our star player, defense is Achilles heel for him. So you gotta compensate. We got to get big. Gotta get us some bigs. Everything else is
Yeah.
okay. We can work with that, but we gotta get big. That's the only way we can. That's the only way that we can succeed or go further in the playoffs. Because then Luca can alley oop, or he can do things. He can do other things with a big. Not so much right now, but hopefully that's a wake
You
up
think
call
what
to the upper management.
you think? I mean, LeBron had 27. Luca had 38. Austin Reed 17. Uh, Rule Hatchimer. I can never say his name right.
Hachimura,
He,
yeah,
Hatchimer.
Hachimura.
He had 23. I mean, they were doing the darn thing. I mean, they were.
Hmm.
Um, it just
Yeah,
wasn't like you said.
Luca.
It just.
Luca is a defensive Achilles heel, and
Yeah.
that's why they wear him out by doubling him, putting pressure on him, bumping him. We wear Luca down, you know, we're good because then he's going to slow down. He's not going to get back. Then that's when your shot go off. When you bumped around and you're not in your comfort space and you got to work hard for your shot. That's when your shots off a little bit, and being a defensive liability, you can't build a lead, without the defense thing, because you got to score, you got to keep them from scoring
Right.
or try to
Well,
limit how many points they make.
what's funny is that not last game, but the game before, Luca looked terrible. He just was.
Yeah.
don't know if he was I don't know if he was tired or he didn't hit. I think he hit 17. Couldn't
Tired.
get. I mean, just couldn't get it going. Now this was they were fighting for their life, so they put on a heck of a show. Down 3-1. I guess they go back to L.A.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to L.A. Um,
Yep.
the Celtics and the Magic 107-98. The
Mm-hmm.
Magic's got a good team. Boston's just too much. They did win. They did win
Yes, sir.
one game.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just. I mean, the Celtics are a machine. I mean, they really. Um, yeah, Tatum, Al Horford, um, Porzingis, Derek White,
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Brown. I mean, they just were. Tatum had 37. I mean, his player prop I think was 28. You could have
Ridiculous.
got him at over 35. I think it was plus 300 or 400. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Derek White
I mean,
19,
just
18.
ridiculous.
Yeah, just I mean, that's no red assist. And Tatum had, I mean, he had we had 14. He had 3 assists, 14 rebounds. Um, so he had a heck of a night. They're tough, man. That's a good team. Like I said, the Magic is up and coming. Good to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back. All right.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see the Magic playing playoff basketball. Also, Detroit. I'm so happy that these two teams are in the playoffs because these are the teams that we need to see every
Yeah,
year. You
yeah.
know, Boston, New York, Detroit, Orlando, because back in our days we was coming up, these were the teams that, that got good and started dominating. So it's taking us back. But I'm glad to see East Coast basketball come back.
Pacers and the Bucks. So we had some props on this. Did all right. Um, the Pacers, the Pacers are for real. There's no doubt about them. They're going to give whoever they play, they're going to give him some problems. We took
Mm-hmm.
Halliburton on his assists. He had 15. He had 17 points. I mean, it's a mouse turner. He can shoot the ball. Um, yeah, really, the whole starting five can shoot. There's no doubt about that. They can shoot the ball, and they got a pretty good bench too. That's really helping. I mean, they had 3 guys off the bench score score more than 12 points. It's pretty
Mm-hmm.
impressive. And the starting five, in the Bucks, he's just by himself. I mean, he
I
had
was gonna,
28.
yeah, that was a question I wanted to ask you. Do you think they get bounced out of this playoff series? You think Giannis is searching for better waters, or is he gonna stick around and see if they can get that team back to where they were uh when they had that championship run?
Well, I don't think they could beat the Pacers. I just don't. Now he's just a one man show. I mean, he's got the injury. They got Lillard is out, right? He's
Yep.
out. He's not coming. There's no
Yeah.
way coming back. I think I would like for him to stay because it makes Milwaukee relevant. It was kind of like LeBron in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
It made it relevant again where it hadn't been relevant in forever. Now Cleveland is relevant again. It's a great thing. Um, I don't know. I think he stays, but I think he only stays one more year. I think he's watching what they're going to do. You got
Mm-hmm.
Lillard. You need 2 or 3 more. You need 2 or 3. You need a couple good role players. You need maybe another big shooting
Mm-hmm.
big. Um, but if they don't do the right thing, then I think he'll be out. And I don't blame him. Like, hey, I'm letting you. You know what we need. This is
Mm-hmm.
what we need um, for them to have a true chance of go winning another championship. Because right now they're just, yeah, they just. I mean, with Lillard gone and not enough support on the bench, I just don't see. I just don't see. I just don't see him going anywhere.
Right.
Um, now on tonight's game, while we're taping ours, the Cavaliers are up 82-38 over the Heat.
Ooh, ooh.
Golly.
Yeah, I think the Heat's cooked. They're cooked.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
think they're yeah. And it's
I get
yeah, it's in the third, and they're up 82. The Heat only scored 38 points. And this game's in Miami, am I right?
yeah.
Oh,
I was
that's
I was im-
that's kind of
I
bad
was
news
impressed.
right there.
Yeah, yeah. I was impressed that they even made the playoffs after Jimmy left. I was impressed.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I just think that Miami needs to start doing things a little different because it's not working. That, we're gonna build within, we're gonna do that. And that, like I said, it sounds great, but man, you're not you lost a great player because of it, I feel.
Hmm.
And you're not, you know what I mean? You're not replenishing you're not replenishing anything.
The talent. You're not replenishing the talent
No, and you got to
because
be, man. If you're
you're not bad enough to get the great player. So
right,
you have to spend some money and you have to get you some stars in there because you're never going to be bad enough to get the best player.
no,
You know, that's not happening. So you got to get some players in there. You got to change up a little bit. I understand what their culture is, but this is Miami. You're supposed to have stars down there. You're supposed to be
that's
right up
true.
there with the Knicks and the Celtics. You're supposed to be right there with those guys. So we're not saying throw everything out. We're just saying y'all gotta amend some stuff. Make it to where free agents want to come to Miami. As opposed to now, I'm not going down there because Phil Jackson ain't gonna spend no money or not Phil Jackson, but Pat
Pat
Riley's not gonna
O'Reilly.
spend any money to get us any help. So some things need to be tweaked a little bit.
I
It's a
agree. And you know what else?
different NBA.
Miami was star studded. You know what I mean? I mean, they won some championships. Had Shaq, had Wade. You know what I mean? Chris
Mm-hmm.
Bosh. They had LeBron.
LeBron.
You know, what I mean, they won some. I'm sure I'm missing somebody, but I'm just saying that was star studded. It was Miami. It's Miami, baby. And you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This is what I mean. That's how
Yeah.
it's supposed to be. Um,
Right.
and it'll be interesting to see, like, what the Mavs do this year. Like, what are they going to do? Because Dallas is. I'm going to tell you something. I'm a big Dallas City fan.
Uh,
Frisco, uh, man, there's a lot of lights and a lot of glare there, baby. There's a lot of money there. Just like Houston. Don't get it twisted.
mm-hmm.
Don't get it twisted because you think it's the South. There's a lot of money.
A
When you go out, when you go
lot of
places,
money.
a lot of money. When you go places in Dallas and you look in Valet, it's Rolls Royce, Ferrari, Bentley. Seeing a Bugatti there, you know what I'm saying? Like it's that kind of
Mm-hmm.
town, not just a couple cars. But so I expect them to have it. But it's starting to make me wonder when the lady bought them, somebody put in my ear, well, that's the lady that owns the Sands Casino.
Mm.
Well, maybe that means Texas is about to get gambling and she's going to build a casino there. Or
Yeah. Ooh.
yeah, right.
Oh.
But now I'm looking at it like maybe she's trying to destroy the team to move him to Las Vegas because when they traded Luca, that just changed everything. I was like, well, why would you do
Mm.
that? I'm trying to, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because after, like I said, Anthony Davis is a stud.
Yeah.
Man, when he's healthy, he's a stud, man. I mean, the
Yeah.
first
When he's
game he
healthy, he's
scored
on.
40. Yeah, he was,
Right.
and he played. Yeah. So I get, like I said, to me, the trade should have been we're selling the farm to get Luca to put him with AD and LeBron.
Yeah.
Because then I'm saying like, hey, I don't know. I'm just saying they might actually have a serious chance in the third. Like after the first series, the second series, and depending on how things lie with Oklahoma, what I mean. It
Yeah.
changes everything.
Hmm.
But you trade, and then Kyrie got hurt. AD got hurt, and it just so I don't know what they got. I don't really don't know what they got going on there. But let's pull up. So you look at games like you got Steph Curry. This is all player props.
Hmm.
27 and a half. You can look up his average. I think Steph. So they're playing game three. Um, this is for points. Show more. Let me see. So Jimmy Butler is playing.
Yes. No
Not
injured players. No injured players tonight. So Jimmy Butler will be
is
playing.
playing. Does Jimmy Butler go off tonight? That's the question. Let's look at
Yeah,
rebounds
that's
and
the
assists.
question. Hmm.
Because
That's the question.
Jim,
What is his shot going? What is his play going to look like?
yeah. So you can get Jimmy Butler 5.5 rebounds at -129, which isn't bad. Jimmy Butler assists 5.5. I like that too. Um, that's not a bad one either.
Mm-mm. Yeah, that's
Draymond
one I would
Green. I tell
that's
you,
one I
I
would
tell you,
definitely take.
yeah. Draymond Green is 6. I've been the last game, man. Draymond's been playing. He's been working, man. He's been down in that paint, just making him pay a little bit, but keeping his
Hmm.
cool, talking,
Yeah,
talking his smack, but not getting into any of
right.
any of this. Because if you
Yeah,
watch
not
the
hurting the
Denver
team.
game, not hurt right. You watch the Denver game, there was a little squabble. Uh, they all got in the thing, but they got it all, and it was it was funny watching because the other teams were grabbing the other people, kind of go, man, don't, we don't want
Yeah,
anyone
yeah.
getting kicked out. Like, just calm down. They were going at it. They were,
Hmm.
it was, I don't know, it's just heat of the moment thing going on. But that was kind
Yeah,
of cool
yeah.
watching them trying to cool each other down, uh, because, um, yeah, you don't want to see anyone, you don't want anyone you don't want a star to get thrown out of the game because then it changes.
Right.
Well, man, if he wouldn't have got put out of the game, this and that. But I am surprised that Jimmy Butler's coming back because I really thought that was. Thank goodness it
Yeah,
wasn't as
right. I
bad
thought he was
as.
gonna be going at least a game or two.
Yeah, I was leaning toward. I was with you on the two. Um, Here's another one: 3-point field goals. Draymond Green 1.5. About a month ago, I
Uh,
watched Draymond Green. Draymond Green hit four threes, not in a row, but I was like, he had 17
yeah, he
points one
hit
game.
four
And-
threes. Yeah, he hit four
Yeah,
threes, and
and I
he's
was
known
like,
to do that from time to time.
time to time, he's known to. He can shoot. He plays his role, but he can shoot. You know what I mean? It's kind of
Hmm.
weird, and that's not a bad bet. It got it at +152, um,
Hmm.
and I think they're going to be. And because I think, well, it's the playoffs. You're going to see everybody going all out. Everybody's
Hmm.
trying to go all out to get ahead of the game. And I'll tell you what, if Golden State can beat the number 2 seed Houston, I don't know, man. That's saying I'm not putting them any further. I'm not putting them any further. I'm not saying
Hmm.
that. I don't want anyone to get it twisted and say I said no. But it's a pretty big feather in the hat to come from 9 or 10, wherever they were, to.
Hmm.
Um, but what's funny is they're letting the Warriors. If you're going to beat the Warriors, you play a big boy ball. Don't let them do what they
Hmm.
want to do. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? You don't let Steph
right,
just
right.
shoot. Like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? That was a stupid
Yeah,
thing. I was like, he'll do that all night long. I was like, you got
right. He
bigs,
will
use
kill you
them.
with that.
Yeah,
Yeah, use them.
yeah.
Make
It
it
kind
difficult,
of
and
we,
let's make the shot
yeah,
difficult.
yeah. It kind of weird with Houston. Now they may come back and just pound them, but I mean, it definitely proved a point. Like you were saying, I mean, you could win one or two. Um, And then we're going to have to see with the Lakers. Lakers are down 3-1, right? That's where we're at.
Yep, they're
3-1.
down 3-1, and we're going back to LA, but we still have the same team. There's no new team waiting on us when we get there.
No. But they might. I mean,
But they'll
they've been
play
very
better at
tough.
home. Role
Yeah.
players play better at home. Now my fandom, and yes, I'm in certain because I know how I always tell the army that I don't put my fandom in when I pick my picks.
Sure.
This is
Sure.
a
Sure.
fandom. This is a fandom pick. It's like I think they're going to take this one because because of the bench and the role players are going to be more comfortable because they're at home and they get the cheers, so their confidence is going to be up. And I think that's going to be the last game we win.
And you have a point. And before we leave, I got to leave you with this.
Okay.
Right now, this very second, you can get the Miami Heat plus 42.5.
Wow. Wow. That's all I saw. Hey.
And if you lose plus 42, you just like, man, I don't know. I think I'd stay away from that because it all depends when they pull everybody out. At some point, they're going
Yeah.
to pull everybody out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what point that is. Hopefully, it'll be somewhere between 42 points and 30 points winning. I don't know. But hey, guys, I want to thank everyone for tuning in every Tuesday night. Tony G, Big Lou. Don't forget to hit us up on Facebook, KM Radio, and the Sportsbook. All right, guys, much love. We'll catch you next time right here on KM Radio, where we go ham.
Hell.